prime factorization, the first thing we need to discuss is what a prime number is. Anyone off the top of their head remember what makes a number prime? Really? Okay, very good. A number divisible by only 1 and itself. Now, as you looked at the worksheet that you had for today, 3-1, of the numbers from 9 through 24, which of those would qualify as being prime numbers? Yes.
Number 10.
What was the number?
257.
The ones that you put none by would also be considered your prime numbers, because not to say that when we put them through our tests that those are the only numbers they're divisible by. There's a pretty good chance, if it's not divisible by what we had already set aside, that the number's probably going to be prime. So if we were to put together a nice little concise list of what the prime numbers were, and this is something you'll want to keep handy, let's say from, how far, let's go from 1 to 40. Okay. Is 1 prime? Not necessarily. That's not really fair. It's not really 1's fault that it is a 1 and it has to be multiplied by 1. So we don't really necessarily count 1 as being prime. So we usually just start with 2. How about 3? Does 3 work as being prime? Can you multiply any other factors besides 1 times 3 or 3 times 1 to get 3? Not whole numbers, right? Now, 2, as a matter of fact, is even, but it's the only even number that would be prime. Why? Because all other even numbers from here on out are also divisible by what? What was the rule? 2. So they always have that. So we'll skip to the next odd number, which is 5. 5 prime? 7. 9. Oh, because of 3 times 3. 11. 13. 13. Yes or no? Brandon? Yes. 15. 15. Brandon? Because of? 3 times 5. Right. Ends in a 5 or 0. So it's divisible by 5 plus the sum of the digits is 6. Makes it divisible by 3. 17. 19. 21. Oh, 3 times 7. 23. 25. 27. 29. 31. 33. 35. 37. 39. 3 plus 9 is 12. 12 divisible by 3. 13 times 3, 39. So there they are. Put these somewhere where you'll be able to easily locate them, because we are going to use them today. You'll be using them the next day. You'll be using them the day after that. Now, hopefully, they will just kind of be a part of your memory after a little bit of while, so you won't need to refer to the list much anymore, but you have it if you need it. Now, which brings us to our next part is prime factorization. We can take any number and break it down to the point where nothing is left but prime numbers. And when we multiply those prime numbers back together, we'll end up with the number we started with. And we get there using factor trees. So you put your gardening gloves on today. We're going to plant some trees today. But you didn't know you were going to do that when you woke up this morning. You would have dressed maybe a little bit differently. But that's all right. You won't get dirty today. Nope. So we are going to we are going to find the prime factorization of 48. Okay? Well, you started, in fact. I mean, you're the one that said something. So, I mean, if you're going to point to it. First rule, I need two factors that can multiply together to get 48. Trinity. 4 times 12. Now, that being said, whatever you choose for that first multiplication problem, your first two factors, it does not matter what you choose as long as what you choose multiply together to give you your 48 or whatever number you're working for. So I could have picked 4 times 12. What else could I have picked? 6 times 8. What else could I have picked? 48 times 1 I could have, but then you're just kind of redoing that first step, so it's not really necessary. Yes? 24 times 2. 3 times 16. So you do have options. Now, what I'll do then next is I'll consult my list, my prime numbers list. Do I see a 4 or a 12 on my list? No, they're both even. Why would they be there? So break them down. What times what will give me 4? Now, is 2 on my list? Yes, 2 is prime. That means I can no longer break this down. What I like to do, I like to circle my prime numbers so I know that they're finished. I know they're finished. Kishana? Could I use something different than 3 times 4 if I want? I could. That doesn't matter. Either the 3 or 4 on my list, Kishana. And then we break down the 4. 2 and 2. Is there anything left for me to break down? No. Then what I need to do is I need to put it all together. Now, I think by now we can use exponents. We must put them in order. Always in your mind, see if you have any 2's. Well, yeah, I certainly have 2's. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 2 to the 4th power times what's left? 3. And that is my prime factorization for 48. Yes, Maddie?
How do you know it's not?
Because I have nothing left but circled numbers, okay? And all my numbers at the bottom are going to be prime. They're all going to be on my list, okay? They're all going to be on my list. So you're not going to see an 8 down here. You're not going to see a 6 or a 4 or a 10. That means I didn't break it down when I was supposed to, okay? How can you check also? If you go back and do the work, you can check it out. Say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 2's and a 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3. 4 times 4, 16 times 3 is 48. Or 12 times 4, what is it? You already told me 12 times 4 is 48. So you can check it and make sure. You can just kind of go backwards. Try one? Sure, of course. Yes, I would love to. 100. Okay. Suggestions for 100. Pretty. 10 times 10 works. So, Trinity, how did you break down the 10? Are those on my list? So, then I'll break down the other one the same way. Nothing left. They're all circled. I can't break them down anymore. So now my bottom line, Trinity, is going to be what? I always just want to look in order. Any 2's? How many 2's do I have? Perfect. 2 to the 2nd power times 5 to the 2nd power. Yes, sir.
So always number goes first.
Yep, you put them in order from least to greatest. Okay? It is almost Halloween time. So when I think of 8, right, we think of the three-headed monster. 2 times 2 times 2. Right, I mean, because 8 is going to be 2 times 4 anyway. So you might as well just make it the three-headed monster. Okay? So you can kind of dress him up a little bit, make him a little scary. You know, put horns on him. Okay. Gives him nice big claws. It's kind of scary. He probably needs some legs. Okay. So that's the three-headed monster. That's 8. All right. And then 2 and 2. Anything left to break down? 2 to the 5th power. Nope, you don't need the 1. You don't need the 1. Don't bother putting the 1 unless it's prime. Okay. How are we doing so far? Good? All right, give it a shot. Now, I'll ask you this. Do prime numbers have a certain look?
No.
No. If they had a certain look, 57 would be prime. But it is not prime. How do you know? Because you looked at it and you put it through the tests. The tests that you just learned. That's why we just learned them. So you looked at it and you said, okay, 57, I know it's not even, but how do I test for divisibility for 3? Add the digits. 5 plus 7, 12. Must be divisible by 3. What do you do if you don't know for sure what you multiply 3 by to get 57? You just maybe have to just say, okay, I know that 57 is divisible by 3, so I'm going to put it over here off to the side. It's going to take me just about 10 seconds, if that. Here, less than, 3 times 19. They're both on my list. 3 times 19, and I'm done, and it's in order. Good. That's why you learn the rules. Any questions? Let's try a really big one.
We should do 1,000.
Wait, the next one will be in the thousands. Okay, now, like we said before, any option will work as long as I can multiply it to get 210. Yes, I could divide the whole thing by 2 if I want. I could use 5, but I think the easiest route here, if it's me, is I just go with the 10. Because then I could say 21 times 10. Now, really, the better choices you make with this first step are going to make life either easier for you or more difficult. The choice is yours. Because now it's just a simple matter of breaking down a 21 and breaking down a 10. So if we break down the 21, and they're both on my list, so that part's done. Now the 10. Now that part's done. Now it's just a simple matter putting them in order. Start with 2. Do you have any 2s? Do you have any 3s? 5, 7. How do you check it? Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21 plus a 0. So there you go. Okay? So don't go through all that hard work and then not put it in order. That would be a real shame. Yes, ma'am. Okay.